Hello and welcome back to Mrs. Houck's math class. You will notice we are on lesson 7, ordering integers and other rational numbers. Yesterday I gave you a little practice Google Slides to fill in. You were supposed to put the numbers in order from least to greatest. Eventually we're going to get to some fractions and decimals to do that. Let's go ahead and look in our blue math books here at lesson 7. We're on exercise 1. The first problem says to graph the number 7 and its opposite on the number line. So let's find the number 7. Start at 0. Go over 7 places. And let's do the opposite. Well, the opposite is way over here. Go ahead and graph that. Then the next thing says to graph the number 5 and its opposite on the number line. Here's 5. And the opposite of 5 would be negative 5. Okay, so go ahead and graph those 2 points. It says, where does 7 lie in the relation to 5 on the number line? Well, let's find 7 and 5. If you notice, 7 is 2 places or 2 units to the right of the 5. So I wrote the 7 is 2 units to the right of 5. Now, if you need to pause my video so that you can write this down, please do so. Also, remember that once we get back to school, we are going to be collecting the blue math books, so make sure you have everything written down. Okay, let's move on down to problem C. Problem C says, where does the opposite of 7, here's the opposite of 7, lie on the number line in relation to the opposite of 5? Here's the opposite of 5. Let's see. Well, this time the 7 is 2 places to the left of negative 5. So I put the opposite of 7 is 2 units to the left of negative 5. So it's this direction and this direction, kind of like opposite directions. Once again, if you need to pause, please do so that you can get this written down. Let's move down to D. I am thinking of 2 numbers. The first number lies to the right of the second number on a number line. 2 numbers. So let's pretend I'm thinking of negative 2 and negative 3. They're right here. The first number lies to the right. The first number lies to the right, so that would be this one here. And the second number is here on this side. What can you say about the location of their opposites? Well, here's the opposite and the opposite. Well, if you notice, the negative 3 is to the left, and on this side, the 3 is to the right. So we notice that the opposite of the second number must lie to the right of the opposite of the first number. So basically, they kind of have swapped places. Okay, so make sure you write down the entire sentence. If you need to pause your video so that you can get it written down, please do so. Okay, we're going to move down to example 1. Example 1 says, the record low temperatures for a town in Maine for January are negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit and February negative 19 degrees Fahrenheit. Order the numbers from least to greatest. Oh, that's what you guys practiced yesterday, was least to greatest. Explain how you arrived at the order. So we're going to start doing something called RDW, which means we're going to read the problem, we're going to draw, and then we're going to write. So we read the problem. Our goal is to order the numbers from least to greatest. We're going to draw. So draw yourself a little number line. I put 0 kind of in the middle. And I have to think about, well, I know that positive numbers go on the right, and we know that negative numbers go to the left, but I'm not going to number all the way. Negative 20 is probably going to be way over here. And now I have to decide where negative 19 is. Well, if I'm counting by ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eventually I'll get to negative 19 right here and negative 20. So if I look at these 2 numbers, negative 20 and negative 19 on the number line, I notice that the negative 20 is the furthest to the left. It's farther away from 0 than negative 19 is. So if I had to put these in order from least to greatest, I would say negative 20 is smaller than negative 19. So our next part we have to do is write. Since negative 20 is furthest away from 0 than negative 19, negative 20 is less than negative 19. Let's move that up so some of you guys can see that. Like I said, make sure you pause your video so that you can get that written down. And then when you are finished, you can go ahead and turn over to the next page. Okay, so we're going to look at problem number 2. It says this time for each problem, we have to order the rational numbers from, once again, least to greatest by first reading the problem, then drawing a number line diagram, and finally explaining your answer. So once again, we're going to do RDW, which is read, draw, and write. Okay, the problem says Joe's time for running the mile in gym class is 9.2 minutes. And Jackie's time is 9.18 or 18 minutes. Who ran the mile in less time? Okay, we read. We're going to draw our number line. I have my number line right here. I notice that the two numbers or the rational numbers that I'm going to look at are 9.2 and 9.18. Okay, so I'm probably going to be just positive. I'm going to put the 0 way over here like this. And since this is a number line that I'm using to help me, I'm going to know that I would be at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and eventually I'm going to get all the way over here to 9. Okay. Well, if I'm counting with rational numbers, I'm going to have 9.0. Then I would have 9.1. I would have, this would be 11. I could do 9.12. 9.13. I'm going to keep going. 9.14. 9.15. I'm going to keep counting higher and higher and higher. And eventually, we need to put this one in here if we forgot that one. 10. Eventually, I'm going to get to 9.18 first before I get to 9.2. Okay, so if I notice if I go over this direction, eventually my number line, if I continue going, I'm going to have 9.16, 9.17, 9.18, 9.19, and 9.20. Okay, I could remove this. It's still the same thing. 9.2 is the same as 9 and 20 hundredths. This is the same. If I notice, here's my two numbers, my two rational numbers. 9.2 is to the right and 9.18 is to the left, meaning this is my smaller number. When I want to know who ran the mile in less time, I want the smaller of the two numbers, and this number would be closer to 0, so it is my smaller rational number. So I put that 9.2 is to the right of 9.18, so 9.18 is less than 9.2. Jackie ran the mile in less time. Now, in order for you to get all this written down, you can pause the video. We're only going to look at 2 more problems. Let's look at number 3. Number 3 says, Mrs. Rodriguez is a teacher at Westbury Middle School. She gives bonus points on tests for outstanding written answers and deducts points for answers that are not written correctly. She uses rational numbers to represent the points. She wrote the following on the students' papers. Student A, negative 2 points. Student B, negative 2.5 points. Did student A or student B perform worse on the test? Okay, so we're going to do RDW. RDW means we're going to read what we read. Now we're going to draw. So we're going to draw a number line. We will notice that we're dealing with negative numbers. So I'm going to put the 0 over here on the right side of my number line. Negative numbers. This would be negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. Now, if I found the -2, -2 is right here. This would be my student A. Student B is -2.5. So I would start here at 0, go to -2, and then go a half more. So that would be student B. They're at -2.5. Okay, so here's 0. We will notice that my student B is furthest from 0, and A is a little bit closer. So when it says, did student A or student B perform worse on the test? Well, since -2.5 is to the left of -2, so -2.5 is less than -2. So student B did worse. Now, the reason why we are making our number line is so that you guys can actually see that this number is less than this number. It's furthest to the left. Okay, let's look at our last problem for today. Problem number 4. A carp is swimming approximately 8.5 feet beneath the water surface. Oh, that's the key word I need to know right there, beneath. And a sunfish is swimming approximately 3.5 feet beneath the water surface. 3.5 beneath. Oh, that means another negative. Which fish is swimming further beneath the water surface? Okay, RDW. I read. Now I'm going to draw. Now I made my number line like this, but the more I looked at my number line, I thought, to be honest, I might want to change my number line. And let's go over here on the side of the paper because it might be easier. Because when I think about the depth of the water, my water is going down this way. Let's put my 0 right here. Okay, remember, negative numbers are going to go down and positive numbers are going to go up. Well, if I have a carp swimming approximately 8 1/4 feet beneath, well, if I counted over here and made tally marks for all the way down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and kind of make a little picture for me, I'm going to see that -8 1/4 is going to be way down here somewhere. Okay, so that's going to be my carp. The sunfish is swimming approximately 3.5 feet beneath. So if I would go down here about 3.5, which is going to probably, I'm going to kind of make an approximation. It's going to be about right there. And I'm going to go put and write the word sunfish here. Remember, 0 is my sea level. Which one of these two fish is further beneath the water surface? Well, obviously, if this is the water, I can see that -8 1/4 is a lot deeper than -3 1/2. So I drew my picture, and now I'm going to write my answer, and my answer is that -8 1/4 is to the left on my number line, or we could even have said to the left, we could say below is, we could say below -3 1/2. So -8 1/4 is less than -3 1/2. So the carp is swimming deeper, and we can see that from our picture here on the side. So if my numbers are in order from least to greatest, -8 1/4 is less than -3 1/2. Okay, so please make sure you get all of this written down in your book. We're going to do a little bit more practice with this again tomorrow. You're going to probably have some games or some things for you to practice between now and tomorrow's lesson.